Frank Lloyd Wright was an American architect, designer, writer, and educator. He designed more than 1,000 structures over a creative period of 70 years. Wright played a key role in the architectural movements of the 20th century, influencing architects worldwide through his works and hundreds of apprentices in his Taliesin Fellowship. Wright believed in designing in harmony with humanity and the environment, a philosophy he called organic architecture. This philosophy was exemplified in Falling Water, which has been called the best all-time work of American architecture. Wright was the pioneer of what came to be called the Prairie School movement of architecture and also developed the concept of the Usonian home in Broadcare City. His vision for urban planning in the United States. He also designed original and innovative offices, churches, schools, skyscrapers, hotels, museums, and other commercial projects. Wright designed interior elements, including leaded glass windows, floors, furniture, and even tableware, were integrated into those structures. He wrote several books and numerous articles and was a popular lecturer in the United States and in Europe. Wright was recognized in 1991 by the American Institute of Architecture as the greatest American architect of all time. In 2019, a selection of his work became a listed World Heritage Site as the 20th Century Architecture of Frank Lloyd Wright. Raised in rural Wisconsin, Wright studied civil engineering at the University of Wisconsin and then apprenticed in Chicago, briefly with Joseph Lyman Silsby, and then with Louis Sullivan at Adler and Sullivan. Wright opened his own successful Chicago practice in 1893 and established a studio in his Hope Park home in 1898. His fame increased, and his personal life sometimes made headlines, leaving his first wife, Catherine Tobin, for Mama Cheney, the murder of Mama and her children and others at his Taliesin estate by a staff member, his tempestuous marriage with second wife Miriam Noel, and his courtship and marriage with Olgivana Lasovic. Early years. Ancestry. Frank Lloyd Wright was born on June 8, 1867, in the town of Richland Center, Wisconsin, but maintained throughout his life that he was born in 1869. In 1987, a biographer of Wright suggested that he may have been christened as Frank Lincoln Wright, or Franklin Lincoln Wright, but these assertions were not supported by any evidence. Wright's father, William Carey Wright, was a gifted musician, orator, and sometimes preacher who had been admitted to the bar in 1857. He was also a published composer. Originally from Massachusetts, William Wright had been a Baptist minister, but he later joined his wife's family in the Unitarian faith. Wright's mother, Anna Lloyd Jones, was a teacher and a member of the Lloyd Jones clan, which had immigrated from Wales to Wisconsin. One of Anna's brothers was Jenkins Lloyd Jones, an important figure in the spread of the Unitarian faith in the Midwest. According to Wright's autobiography, his mother declared when she was expecting that her first child would grow up to build beautiful buildings. She decorated his nursery with engravings of English cathedrals torn from a periodical to encourage the infant's ambition. Wright grew up in an unstable household, constant lack of resources, unrelieved poverty and anxiety, and had a deeply disturbed and obviously unhappy childhood. His father held pastorates in McGregor, Iowa, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and Weymouth, Massachusetts. Because the Wright family struggled financially also in Weymouth, they returned to Spring Green, where the supportive Lloyd Jones family could help William find employment. In 1877, they settled in Madison, where William taught music lessons and served as the secretary to the newly formed Unitarian Society. Although William was a distant parent, he shared his love of music with his children. In 1876, Anna saw an exhibit of educational blocks called the Froebel Gifts, the foundation of an innovative kindergarten curriculum. Anna, a trained teacher, was excited by the program and bought a set with which the 9-year-old Wright spent much time playing. The blocks in the set were geometrically shaped and could be assembled in various combinations to form 2- and 3-dimensional compositions. In his autobiography, Wright described the influence of these exercises on his approach to design. For several years, I sat at the little kindergarten tabletop and played with the cube, the sphere, and the triangle, these smooth, wooden maple blocks. All are in my fingers to this day. In 1881, soon after Wright turned 14, his parents separated. In 1884, his father sued for a divorce from Anna on the grounds of emotional cruelty and physical violence and spousal abandonment. Wright attended Madison High School, but there is no evidence that he graduated. His father left Wisconsin after the divorce was granted in 1885. Wright said that he never saw his father again. Education, 1885 to 1887. In 1886, at age 19, Wright wanted to become an architect. He was admitted to the University of Wisconsin-Madison as a special student and worked under Alan D. Conover, a professional of civil engineering, before leaving the school without taking a degree. Wright was granted an honorary doctorate of fine arts from the university in 1955. In 1886, Wright collaborated with the Chicago architectural firm of Joseph Lyman Silsby, accredited as draftsman and construction supervisor on the 1886 Unity Chapel.